the Dig Podcast Series 10, all about real lives, real moments. And we just want to give you, our listener, a heads up that we will be covering some sensitive topics.
The gigs weren't going good. I mean, there was some nights we didn't go on. We just set the gear up, waited, and no one turned up. I never thought of giving up. The first 3 years were really tough, and we lost a lot of money. I was in the pub the following week and someone said, "How much did you get paid for that?" I said, "I didn't get paid a single penny. Just went and done it like." Well, you can get carried away, especially being on a tour bus. It's not glamorous at all. See, there's 14 lads on a bus.
Is that what it would
Imagine
be?
The smells.
Oh yeah, no, not good, no.
He got me to record my first song, got me my first gigs in all the pubs. And then unfortunately he ended up passing away about 5 years ago now. And that was a huge blow at the time. Because he was kind of my mentor and someone that I would ring every day with any problems. It's been music my whole life. So this is something completely different. It can't be that hard. I take it all back.
The Dig Podcast Series 10, real lives, real moments. You've heard me say it each week now, and it doesn't get much realer than the person that's sitting beside me now. Who is he? I want to get to know. So I am sitting beside Nathan Carter. A lot of you will know that name for sure. But Nathan has a life like everybody else. Yes, of course, he is a superstar and he is very famous and in the showbiz industry. He's also a person with a life like so many of us, and that's what this is about. This series is diving deep into that and finding out who these people are and see can they share some advice and wisdom to us on our journey, and maybe we're navigating some of the same things. But who is he? So I had to do my research and figure out, what is the Irish connection there. So Nathan was born in Liverpool, and you're going to get to hear all this from him now, but his Irish parents are from County Down. So he's one of us for sure, if you're listening, from Ireland anyway, and his family roots in Kerry and Down leave him very much grounded here with the Irish community, and he's a country music star, and people love his music and love him. He's very deep rooted in his own community and the fans and the people that follow him, but he's here from he was 18. That's a big thing to leave home, and a lot of people do, and what's that journey been like? I want to know how he's managed that. And he has many top hits. I have it all written down in front of me, and I'm afraid I'm missing something here, so I'm sure he'll keep me right if I get anything wrong. But in the 14 years that have passed since he moved here, he's released more than a dozen solo albums, 6 of which have taken him to #1 position in Ireland's album charts. And actually, the most famous one that my children all sing that I would think of him as is Wagon Wheel. So, and this is so bad, but I didn't know that was a cover of a Bob Dylan song. I just thought Nathan Carter wrote it. Isn't that? That's very bad of me, but that shows you how much he owns that song, and everybody just recognises him to that song. But it sent him soaring again through the charts, and I suppose just like a cherished among the people really from here for that. It's just so recognisable. His fan base all over the world. But who is he? What's his real story? I'm going to grill him today, and he's right beside me. Was that okay? Did I get anything wrong about any of the charts or any of the...
My head's that big, I'm not going to get through the door on the way out now.
Stop. You're
introduction.
A nice person. That's why you said yes, and that's why you're here. So thank you for... I know it's not always easy to be on something like this where somebody's asking you all the questions that they want to know. So I appreciate you being here.
No problem. Delighted to do it.
So it's about real lives, real stories. Now, who is Nathan Carter? We know you're a great singer and an entertainer and a nice person, but tell us about those early days in Liverpool. What was life like? And
really, I suppose my whole life has revolved around music. I was useless at sports. I still am, although I was playing golf today.
We could hardly get you here for the interview. You were playing that much golf there out on the golf course.
I only took that up about 2 years ago, and I found it really good for just switching off for a few hours. Phone goes on silent, and I generally play with other lads that are part of the music scene in Fermanagh and Northern Ireland. So we all have a common thing of we're not going to chat about music. Let's just go out and play a bit of golf, So it's good fun. But yeah, I mean, my whole life has revolved around music. I started playing the accordion when I was 4. My granddad played it, so he was teaching me when I was a kid. And then I joined the school choir, was involved in cultus growing up with trad music. So I would enter the Flag Hole every year, travelled from Liverpool, and eventually won the All-Ireland when I was 15. I used to be in Ceilidh bands, gigging at the weekends. My nan was the manager of the local parish club, So there'd be christenings, weddings, and they'd rope me in when I was like 7, 8, 9, 10 to play accordion and sing a few songs. Yeah, so my whole life just revolved around music, and I think I was kind of always knew I was never going to be, you know, a solicitor or a, you know, work for the council. I was going to be in music in some capacity, you know. And then I moved over to Ireland when I was 18, set up a band, started gigging.
Now, stop. You say that there like as if, you know, that's a big thing. So 18, like when I think of when I was 18, I had no sense and no clue of what, like that's very driven at 18 to move over here and start a band, as you say. So
yeah. Well, I'd already been gigging in pubs and clubs around England and Scotland, all the Irish pubs, and I was just gigging away on my own with a piano and a guitar and the squeeze box and singing away. And then I got the opportunity to move over, and someone said, "Do you want to set up a band?" My mum wasn't the best pleased that the eldest son was leaving to go somewhere else where she couldn't get to me that easy, so she was a bit worried. But she knew that it was what I wanted to do, and she could see that, you know, my career was in music, really. So I think she would have been happier if I went to university and got a music degree, maybe, rather than playing gigs 5 nights a week and driving home at 3, 4 in the morning, exhausted, you know. So they were always a bit worried, but thankfully it's all been fine. They've seen it grow from playing in pubs and bars to dance halls and then theatres and arenas that it's got to. It's, you know, it did at some stage, and very lucky to be able to play some of the venues we do, some of the best venues in the UK and Ireland.
For sure. And that whenever you're 18, in those years of 18, 19, 20, 21, like obviously you were very busy and you were doing a lot of gigs, and with that comes a lot of, well, I don't know, you tell me, what does life look like when you do a gig and you're so busy and people are starting to recognise you, and then does that exist of after you party, you go out? Is that a thing? Or
it didn't back then, because I was driving myself to all the gigs, so I couldn't have a drink, or I couldn't, you know, I'd meet people after the gig. But I mean, when I was 19, 20, like the gigs weren't going good. I mean, there was some nights we didn't go on, we just set the gear up, waited, and no one turned up, so we'd just have to pack the gear down, drive home.
Right, talk to me about that night, because I wouldn't have ever foreseen that would have been a thing. But
oh yeah, no, it definitely was.
The Dig podcast means so much to us because we're able to help people with actionable advice, both in the world of work and life. And so many people are listening, thousands of downloads, but some people still haven't hit that follow button or subscribe. I'm guilty of it too. I listen to podcasts and I actually haven't taken that action. But I'm asking you today, if you do love the podcast and you want to keep seeing more guests, if you could hit follow on Spotify or Apple, or if you watch on YouTube, if you hit that subscribe button, it helps the podcast grow. And in turn, I can continue to have brilliant guests that bring you great advice each week.
And it is for most musicians starting out. It's not everyone sees like the end result if you get a song that becomes a hit or whatever, you know. But generally most people who start out in pubs and clubs, they're playing to no one, you know. It's really tough.
What does that feel like then when no one
soul destroying. Absolute soul destroying. But it's good because you just take it. I think it makes you, you know, become hardened to the road. And if you really want it, you'll keep going until you get there, you know what I mean? I was always quite business minded. I was always set on buying my own equipment and buying my own truck. And, you know, I didn't want to be relying on other people. So I'd bought my own stuff and saved up and reinvested and eventually didn't want to be relying on anyone. So,
and was there ever times in those early days and you thought, you know what? This is too hard. I can't do this.
I never thought of giving up. The first 3 years were really tough, and we lost a lot of money, you know, through not gigging, going to gigs, but no one turning up.
Yes, yeah.
I remember playing in the melon country in Oma, and I think there was maybe 70 odd people at the gig. And then I started releasing songs on the radio, and the songs were getting a bit of traction. This is maybe 10 years ago now, 11 years ago. And the younger generation were all getting into jiving. So the numbers within, so say we were in the Melon, there was 70 odd people. Within about 2 months, we went back and the doors were closed at 10 o'clock, and I wasn't meant to be on stage till 11. And there was 650, 700 people inside, and there was the same outside that couldn't get in.
So what happened during those 2 to 3 months?
I don't really know. There was like a jiving craze with all these young ones started to want to jive, and we were just on the scene. I suppose I was 19, 20, 21, and the young ones that had seen or heard me on radio could identify, because it wasn't someone in their 60s singing country music, it was someone young. So it was a real... It was mad. It was crazy, you know, and it changed very quickly. And then after that, about a year after that, I recorded Wagon Wheel, and that just changed the whole game altogether. It was like I went from selling out dance halls to then being able to play theatres, and you know, we're in Dublin where there was no country music at all. We'd be then playing the Olympia or Vicar Street, and all these theatres, playing the Waterfront in Belfast, which didn't really play, you know, none of the country acts would be playing up there. So it just kind of brought me to a whole new level, and I started doing a lot more TV on RTE and BBC. It was on with Stephen Nolan every 3 or 4 months on his shows, you know.
How'd you handle him now? Because he could ask you anything.
He's actually, do you know what, he was really sound with us. And we were, at that stage, he wanted a bit of light-heartedness, is that what you'd say? Because it's very serious subjects. And he started doing music at that stage, so he'd bring us in and we'd sing a song at the end of the TV thing, you know. So, but I always got on with Stephen. It was he liked the music, and he kind of could see what I was doing was becoming successful, you know. So
it sounds like, so I'm thinking of the people who are listening. So there's people who are kind of, not even if they're not in the music industry, but for working life, like you embraced every opportunity to get your name out there by the sounds of it.
Yeah, I was doing every sort of gig possible, every radio interview, every TV thing. Every magazine that wants an interview, I'd do it. You know, I never said no to anything. I just, because at that stage, if you're hungry and you're ambitious, you want to just get out there and do as much as you can.
And along that time, was there like a mentor that you would turn to keep you right about things?
Yeah, there was a guy that took me to the recording studio when I was like 16. He was a singer from Liverpool. He was actually from South Armagh. He's from Silver Bridge, across McGlen direction. But he got me to record my first song, got me my first gigs in all the pubs. A guy called Nicky James, and I'd be chatting to him every day, really, just about the gigs when I moved to Ireland, and he was giving advice on what to do and what to record, and he'd been singing for 50 years, you know. So, and then unfortunately he ended up passing away about 5 years ago now, and that was a huge blow at the time, because he was kind of my mentor and someone that I would ring every day with any problems, you know. So that was a bit of a blow.
It's important to have that. Like, I'm sure you would put a lot of what's happened to you down to that then, having that person to go back to.
Yeah, totally, yeah. No, I wouldn't have got going at the start if it wasn't for him. Because I don't think I would have had the contacts to get into all the pubs and start gigging, you know. And he was the one who persuaded me to move to Ireland to get a band together. So I did it, and yeah, I still think about him most weeks, you know. And
because people like that leave their mark on you forever.
He did, yeah. He's left a mark with me forever. And then I ended up writing a song about him, and we released that on an album about 4 or 5 years ago. I can't sing it live.
You can't, because it's too emotional.
It's just I can't do it.
Yeah, so I can understand that, but I suppose along the way, and it's like everything, you can meet people that can keep you on the right road, and people that can lead you away. And I suppose it's knowing who the right people are in your circles, because I would imagine, and you can keep me right here, in your line of work, you're going to come into contact with a lot of people who would like to be friends with you and want to be in your circles. How do you keep it tight, Nathan? How do you keep that circle?
I've generally had the same friends for probably 10, 12 years, really, in Ireland. And especially here in Fermanagh, it's been a lot of the same people that I hang around with generally. And I'm on the road that much. Like, we live in tour buses and hotels, and we're in airports every week of the year generally, apart from maybe 3 or 4 weeks a year we wouldn't be flying anyway. But the band and the crew, you end up becoming like a family on tour, really, you know what I mean? You keep it, but you meet I'd say 99% of people that I've met are really good people, and you know, they're very supportive of what I do anyway. So,
and so then whenever time has moved on and perhaps you're not the designated driver anymore with all your stuff, and you have that opportunity to go out and socialise afterwards. How do you keep yourself, like I suppose, fit and healthy in your mind and body to not get carried away with that scene?
Well, you can get carried away, especially being on a tour bus.
What's the life on a tour bus like now?
It's not glamorous at all.
Don't lie, I'd say inside your tour bus is unreal.
No, it's really not. It's really not. Especially living with, say, there's 14 lads on a bus.
Is that what it will
Imagine
be?
the smells.
Oh yeah, no, not good, no. I have 5 brothers, so I'm multiplying that by
2.5.
3 or whatever.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's not glamorous.
No, I'm being left.
You walk in and there's a living room and a kitchen, a seating area,
right?
TV, fridge, the whole lot.
So it's literally like
all
that.
the bunks are upstairs.
Right.
There's 16 bunks upstairs.
And what way does that work? Is that because you are on the road so much you don't have time to check into hotels? I was just trying to get in my head why you were on a tour bus.
It's actually much easier because there's no one needs to drive. You're outside the venue when you wake up in the morning.
Okay.
You know, the problem is with hotels. We did do hotels for a while, but you'd be driving after the gig to a hotel, and then say you're getting in at 2 in the morning, you have to be out by 11. Well, sure, what are you going to do then for 4 or 5 hours every day? But between then and sound check.
Okay.
And sometimes distance-wise, you're driving in the back of a van. It's just a nightmare.
Right.
So
it's your house.
It's your home away from home. Yeah, for 4 nights a week, about 3 months a year. When we're in England, Scotland, or Wales, we'll be on a tour bus, and the same in America. We'll be on a tour bus there. So.
But does your tour bus now look like your tour bus did at the start? Like, surely you can upgrade through the journey, you know, like to being like a higher spec tour. I'm imagining cribs.
They don't really get
cribs
that.
like you could say.
Yeah, no, to be honest, the band touring tour buses are not like anything from cribs. No, they're really not.
Okay.
But the beds are clean.
Yeah.
There's a toilet there, but you can only do
certain things.
Certain things.
Yeah, I understand that.
You have to get off if you need the other number 2.
So, well, you know what? That's insight for me, because I would imagine you'd have been like in a beautiful hotel every night, but like functionally, and it doesn't work.
Doesn't work. Yeah. No, unless you want to be driving. You see, we could be in Glasgow one night, and you could be in Liverpool the next night. So there's 5 hours of driving to be done, and you don't want to be sitting in the back of a van for that long. Plus, it actually works out more financially. It's cheaper to book that than have 7 or 8 bedrooms in hotels every night.
Yeah.
So, plus you'd need 2 vans to take the 2 lads, 2 sets of fuel, 2 drivers then.
Okay.
So yeah, it becomes.
So is there tour buses all over then of all like people who are gigging? That's how it rocks.
Generally, how a lot of people tour is on tour buses. Yeah,
okay.
Not in Ireland because everywhere is quite close.
Yes.
But if you're in the UK, a lot of people.
So people who are listening who want to get into the music industry, this is what it might look like for them. So they have to be prepared for what lies ahead. But like I've all my questions, I haven't even looked at them yet because I got totally sidetracked on the tour bus there and the smells. You really threw me off. But do you find that hard? Like you're away from like home's for Mana now, but is home always Liverpool for you in your heart?
Mum and Dad's house. Well, my dad's a builder, and we've moved house. We moved house every 2 or 3 years, so I never really had home as in
like
home.
The roots type.
That's like Mum and Dad have been there for 30 years. No, they haven't. They moved every 2-3 years, and I think I picked up a bit of a bug from that as well because I've bought and sold so many houses through the years. But I can't see myself probably moving back to Liverpool. I've become accustomed to life in Northern Ireland, and I like the people. I love the way it's slightly slower paced than cities, especially Liverpool and London and Birmingham and Manchester. There's just an easier way of life, I think, and everybody generally that I know is good people and friendly people, good food, good pubs.
Good hotels.
Good hotels. Yeah, we're sitting in a very good hotel here.
We are. So we're in, for anybody who isn't watching and they're listening, we're in the gorgeous Lochern 5-star resort.
Yeah.
We've been spoiled rotten for 2 days here when we're filming. But you're actually, and I was going to talk about this at the end, you're actually a brand ambassador for Lochern, isn't that right?
Yeah.
Why was that important for you to do something like that?
Well, I've been a member here at the resort for 7 or 8 years because when I moved to Fermanagh, I rented accommodation for a while, and then I ended up buying a house here on the resort, which made me an instant member as well. And then I started doing I've done a couple of charity functions here through the years, got to know a lot of the managers and staff. And I play golf here whenever I can. The food's great.
Yeah.
They've actually just spent an awful lot of money doing this place up as well, and it looks even better now than it did. So yeah, they asked me would I become a brand ambassador, and I was like, yeah, sure. I'm playing golf here most of the time anyway.
Yeah.
I don't own the house here anymore, but
Okay.
yeah, it's just a good place.
Yeah.
And anybody that I've brought here through the years, family, friends, business meetings, I do an awful lot of business meetings here, so everybody loves it.
Yeah.
And
It's good people. You can feel like it's a people place too.
Yeah, and it's not massively big either, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think sometimes you can get lost in hotels. This feels very intimate and cozy, no matter whether you're in this room or the restaurant or the bar, or you know, even at weddings here, they're not massive weddings, they're like, you know, good size. So
Yeah.
it's been a big part of my life in Fermanagh, so that's why I became ambassador.
Yeah, I know they're so proud of you as well, because they're like super psyched when I said you were going to be on the podcast.
Right.
So I know that they're delighted with that partnership. But I want to talk about community, because the people that follow you, that is a movement. Those people, I mean, I obviously, you know, like your music, and I have never been to your gig, but I'm very aware with my family and stuff. But your fans are like, talk to me about them. What is this that's happened? We're just taking a short little break in the Dig podcast to shine a light on our fantastic partner, Linwood's Health Foods.
Small changes every day make the biggest difference to our health. Linwood's Health Foods was born out of founder John Woods' first-hand experience after suffering from a heart problem. On a mission to improve his health, John discovered the nutritional properties of milled flaxseed and integrated these little seeds into his diet every day. Feeling the benefits, John then began to share the goodness of milled flaxseed with his family and friends. Fast forward 30 years, and Linwood's Health Foods' sole focus is enhancing people's health and well-being, helping them feel great every day through sustainable, healthy foods. Linwood's is available in all major supermarkets, health food stores, and online at linwoodshealthfoods.com. Make a better start every day with Linwood's, proud sponsors of the Dig podcast.
And now back to our guest.
Yeah, they're the fans are definitely very passionate.
Very passionate.
We have a lot of people come to all the gigs. They just seem to turn up, you know.
Continually to the
front row every week.
So do you know people now?
I know a lot of people by the first names, yeah.
Okay.
And then they get pictures every night after the gig. We're allowed to do meet and greets at like 80% of the venues. Some of them don't allow it. But generally, if I can get out front after the gig, I'll go out and say hello and stand there for half an hour, 45 minutes and meet everyone. But they're very loyal. We played in Inverness recently in top of Scotland for 4 nights. And we had, I'd say, 10 people travelled from Northern Ireland, probably 20 to 30 from the Republic of Ireland. And then we had a load of people travel up from England, and Inverness is quite a way up now. It's not. So, you know, they just turned up, and really, I'm honestly very lucky. The support that I get is they're very loyal. They buy a lot of tickets, and then, of course, when the music's out, they support that as well. So, wouldn't be here without them. We just, we couldn't do the gigs without them. So. But
there's something that you do too that makes them be like that. So I follow along on social. I've watched the things that GBD started to follow a while back on social media, and there's this one video I actually had a comment on it, but there's thousands of comments. You went into this nursing home. It was a nursing home, wasn't it?
Oh, Listen Ski.
Yes.
For Nan McAdams.
Is that the lady's name? I just watched it.
It wasn't a nursing home, funny enough. It was literally just a hall that she'd hired for a party. She was 98.
Okay. So there's a lot of her elderly friends and relatives there. That's maybe why. Yeah. But it was like a community gathering that you were at.
It was like a community centre, yeah. But a friend of mine plays banjo, and she'd asked him to come and play a few tunes at this birthday party. She was having 5 parties that week.
Good for her.
She'd hired the Hidden Naggin, which is a little pub, caravan pub on wheels. She'd hired that one of the nights, and this was the other party she was doing, one of 5 that week. And he says, she's a massive fan of yours, wouldn't you call in? And I was like, funny enough, I'm back from England tonight, and I'm there for 3 days. So it was only in Listen Ski, which is 20 minutes up the road. So we planned it then, and he says, I'll film you when you go in. So she's got the video for to show everyone, you know. So I walked in and she was going nuts, like she was buzzing that I'd showed up, and I sang. I sang Wagon Wheel and we sang Happy Birthday to her. I had a bit of cake, stayed for about 20 minutes, got pictures with everyone, and then left. But it felt so good because she was buzzing and everyone was really happy. But then afterwards, he was like, you should put that up on social media. And I was like, I don't know. It might look a bit contrived.
Yes.
It wasn't. It was just
natural, happened naturally.
And he was like, stick it up. So we ended up sticking it up, and it just millions of views.
Oh, was it millions now?
Yeah,
I like, there's something so wholesome about it though.
Yeah.
Because you just walked in and she threw them arms around you.
She wouldn't let me go. She wouldn't let me go.
I was like, let him go, Nan, let him go.
She was like, come and sit on my knee. I was like, you're 98. I'm not going to sit on your knee. I'll break your knees. So, but she was great fun.
Oh.
Great fun.
That's what it's about though, isn't it? People, like women, like people like that are there are other generations of where we've all came from, but seeing her and all her people and you walk in there was something very special about that. I can see why it went viral, but it says a lot about you too, because some people just wouldn't make the time. So
I was in the pub the following week and someone said, how much did you get paid for that?
I know.
I said, I didn't get paid a single penny. Just went and done it. Like, it's just nice to be able to give back, you know what I mean? But some people,
you know what's going to happen,
automatically think
this? You know what's going to happen.
Every nursing home in the country. That's what the lady who's looking after me now, Sharon Kelly, she was like, you've just opened up a can of worms there. I says, why? She says, we're going to have to do a nursing home tour now the next year.
But you know what? Obviously, you can't do that. And, you know, we're joking here. You don't have the time. But for you to do, I just thought there's something. I was like, God, he's a good person. I just watched it and thought, you're so lovely to do that. And her face, and you should have sat in her flipping knee. Her knee would have held you right.
It was funny though. The lady was called Nan McAdams, and everyone thought it was my nan.
Oh.
Because I put up great to sing happy birthday to Nan.
Yes, and that's what you call your nan.
And that's what I call my nan.
Okay,
Nan.
but it's not, it's just a random fan.
A lady that's, I'd come across, so yeah.
Unreal.
Nice thing to do though.
Yeah, unreal thing, and loads of people wouldn't be able to foresee them doing that, so you did, and I just thought it was deadly. So I loved watching that. And also, like, it's not just music that you are, it's business, right? So you're a businessman. Because you talked there about bands selling houses.
I always find that funny, yeah.
But you are.
I know, but it makes me sound so old.
I know, no, you're not old. You're not. What age are you? What age are you?
34.
Okay, 34. So 34. No, you're not. But well, you are a man and you love business, so you technically you are, whether you like me saying that or not.
I know.
So you are a businessman and you love like your dad there. You said your dad's band selling, your band selling houses, and the music industry. That's a business, and you made a business out of it.
Really
but there's something new coming, and I am invested because I have a background in retail, and I'm going to remind everybody why now in a minute. But you are do you want to tell everybody that's listening what you're working on?
Yeah,
probably a lot of them already know.
If anyone follows us on Instagram, they will have seen some of the stuff we've released. But I'm launching a clothing brand called Carter Clothing, which was an idea that I'd had for a while, but never really put it into fruition. So there's a lady, Terry, who's a brilliant photographer based in Donegal. I've been working with her on and off for different photo shoots for years, and she came to me and says, I wouldn't mind getting involved with this if you want to take the chance on it. So I was like, yeah, let's do it. Sure, why not? It can't be that hard. I take it all back. It's really, really hard.
It is hard.
And not from really the design process, that's the exciting bit.
Yeah.
But the bit of trying to get it into shops and to set up the website, get the whole distribution sorted, packaging, labels, photographs, the list goes on and on. And I'm trying to do that as well as gig during the week, record and write new songs with Guy Chambers in London. The phone just never stops. But it's been enjoyable. I have enjoyed getting it to this stage. It's now the exciting bit to release the clothing brand to the world and see what people think of the clothes, really, you know. So it's like we've designed t-shirts, shirts, jumpers that are being made in Donegal up the road from here. Wonderful fabric, you know, really nice designs. We've done a photo shoot. We went out to Portugal to do a shoot and brought out some of the models that Terry's worked with on and off. So we're releasing some of that content as well. But it's really exciting. It's going to be, the website goes live in 2 or 3 weeks' time whenever this goes out. And yeah, just excited to see what people think of it.
Well, I claim to have played a part in your, I know that I inspired you to do this because I'm going to tell everybody why. For people who don't know, and this podcast is not about me, but I do believe I need to share this. I used to have a clothes shop, and it was at the start, I had it for 12 years in Dungannon, next door to a shop that you frequent very often, the music shop, Stuart's music shop. And just for people who are listening, to give you a bit of context, so when I heard he was releasing a clothing brand, I was like, I definitely inspired him. So Nathan, I heard Nathan was going to be next door. He doesn't even remember this, but I heard he was going to be next door, and I was like, right, I sold menswear at the time, Nathan, I'm just going to remind you of all this. And I had a deadly red blazer. It was whenever people wore all the coloured blazers. And I think if I could get Nathan Carter to try this on, I've made it. Like, I'm going to sell out of these. And this is going to be the thing that makes my retail career. So I said to Raymond, when Nathan's in, you wouldn't give him a shout there to come in. Do you think, would he come in? He's like, oh, I'll come in, no bother. So it's kind of that Nan story where you were like, I'll come in. And he came, I was like, Nathan, you wouldn't try on the blazer. I'm going to try, actually, when the podcast goes out, I'm going to try and find that photo.
If you find a picture, send it to me. Send it to me,
Because I'm the start of your retail career. And then he put it on there. I stood beside him, happy as Larry. And I'm sorry, I didn't sell one red blazer. Because the red blazer wasn't nice, even though Nathan was nice, the red blazer was not nice. But when you said you were starting a clothing brand, I was like, I just had all those memories.
Funny enough, we don't have a red blazer in the Carter clothing.
Of course you don't. Of course you don't. Don't believe me, coloured blazers were in at a time. But I suppose it's going back to that Nan thing too. You didn't have to come in next door. You did that and you tried it on. But that clothing element, when I heard you were doing it, I know what it's like in retail. I know what it's like.
It's tough.
I always wanted to do my own brand. Unfortunately, my shop didn't last that as long as it needed it to do that. But when I heard you were doing that, you have the profile. Everybody wants to, be part of that journey with you, and you have the style. You're dressed like a film star of the day, even though it's not it's not your gear yet, because we're keeping that under wraps for the launch. So I feel like it's going to be a huge success. You have our backing anyway. But
hopefully, yeah. Thanks, I appreciate that.
No.
We have, honestly, we've worked, well, Terry especially has worked tirelessly on it. And it's something brand new for me that I never really thought of. It's been music my whole life. So this is something completely different. And
what's the look? So if there's guys listening to the podcast, which I know there is, what's the look?
Well, we're doing sizes from extra small to extra large.
Okay.
And we're hoping, like, I used to go online and I wouldn't have had the best dress sense generally, and I didn't know what went with what. So we've designed this website, whereas if you pick a jumper, well, it'll tell you that these jeans are going to go with that.
Perfect.
You can wear that t-shirt underneath it. You can put that jacket over that t-shirt colour-wise. It's really easy to, and especially for men, because I think some men like shopping. Some of them, if they're like me, I get fed up shopping. I just want to get in as quick as I can.
Not try on any blazers.
I don't really want to try stuff on. Yeah, especially red ones. Yeah. And I want to get out, So we've designed this website where it's actually really easy for men to use, especially. Now, I'm saying men, the jumper range, all my female friends that I know from Anna are raving. I'm mad about these jumpers that we've done.
Okay.
Because they're all in wacky colours. They're in like blues, and there's no reds. There's a pink and there's a green, obviously black, grey. But they're big jumpers and they're big fitting, which I think is kind of in at the minute.
The oversized look.
Oversized look is very big at the minute. I only got out to skinny jeans about a year ago, so I'm only getting onto this now as well. No, we're really excited. So it's for men and women, really. We haven't done a massive range for women, but if they want the jumpers, they can definitely wear them and they'll look well in them.
And it's like clothing for everyone.
That's it. Yeah, I mean, I don't confess to be the most stylish person ever, but I like these clothes. I think they will suit most people out there. So it's going to be exciting to get it launched, see how it sells. Hopefully a load of shops come on board. We've 3 or 4 shops that are taking the range anyway, in Donegal, in Dublin, Sligo, all over the place. And then, of course, the main thing is our website will be selling all the range.
All over the world.
Wherever you live, from Bangkok to Banbridge, you can get the clothes.
Love that could be your strapline. Bangkok to Banbridge. I love that. Love that. Yeah, so that's so I can't wait to follow that, but just because of my background. But the retail industry needs like fresh all the time, fresh brands. I know the Irish retail industry specifically. I know so many men's shops are going to be biting your hand off to get that in.
Hopefully, because we did host a launch day, you know, to bring shops there, and I don't think Terry will mind me saying this, but we had 15 shops lined up.
Okay.
So I hired a room in Dublin in a hotel for a day. Brought all the clothes up, me and Terry, put them on rails. Out of 15 shops, 3 turned up.
Okay, so what?
And it was heartbreaking.
So
I was sitting there going...
This is back to your day, though.
This is like me starting out of the music game.
Exactly what it's
exactly the same.
So what did you do then?
So we ended up like laughing about it. We were like, and one of the shops that came in, I had my face on this massive pop-up, and it was like Carter Clothing, me and all the range. And your man walked in from a certain shop that I won't name, and he was like, "Who are you?" And I was like, "See that big that big poster there? This is me. Nice to meet you." I'm like, right, this is tough. This is awkward. So yeah, it's a totally different game to music. But I'm going with it.
You're ready for it?
I'm ready for it.
Yeah, you're going to meet some characters along the way, but it's so interesting.
The fashion industry is probably in some ways similar to the music industry, but
cutthroat.
It's cutthroat, yeah, definitely so.
That's going to be interesting then, just to follow that journey. But look, it's just like everything, like you said, how you started off with the music. It can't always start off like, you know, boom, straight away. It doesn't.
I always find if it happens too quick, it doesn't last. With most things, you know. Yeah. So hopefully the clothing range is similar to that, you know.
It will be. Whenever I share a wee bit, when I started the podcast, I didn't know how to do a podcast, and it was during lockdown. And Loney, who's behind the camera, and I said, "Me, just do it." And I was like, "I haven't a clue how to do it." And he goes, "Just press go to Zoom, ask somebody to join you on Zoom, and press record. I'll drop you over a microphone." It was during COVID, when you weren't supposed to be on the road, and he was illegally trespassing with the little microphone. I'm probably not allowed to say that, but you know, it's the truth. Put it in through the window. I cleaned it all down in case his germs got on my family, and I pressed record, and nobody was listening to it, and I forgot to press record until 3/4 way through with the guest. But it's just like that. Now we've got Nathan Carter sitting beside us. So I suppose it's just a journey, like everything. It doesn't always start off.
No.
It's hard work.
It doesn't. And hard work, no matter what business you're in, really, you know what I mean? You put the time in, you'll get it back. But
I know. So good of you to share all of that.
And I only realised, by the way, we met recently in Belfast.
Yes.
At the Muff, like
that's right.
Northern Irish launch. And then I only realised then that your sons, I didn't put that together until last week.
Oh, right.
Because I was obsessed with that video of him being so busy, and he's doing this and he's doing that and he's doing that. Well, that must have got sent round our family group about 10 times. So that came up then, and I was like, that's
he gets it from his mother. You know, he's got the gift
of
the gab.
He's flat out.
He's flat out.
Yeah.
So for anybody who doesn't know, there was a viral video during lockdown, and my wee boy Dara was busy wee man, and then it just went all over the world.
Busy wee man.
So people do say to me, "You'd be nothing without your children." I get that a lot. So I'm trying to prove now I have my own identity. But that's so funny that he'll be delighted to hear that. Yeah. And you also signed Pierce's guitar at the Muff Gin, and that's his claim to fame too. So anyway, I think what it boils down to is you're a good person underneath the fame, because sometimes that can get lost, the values.
Like to think I am anyway, you know.
And thank you for letting us get a wee bit of insight into their real life.
No problem.
It was lovely to because sometimes you just see you in passing and you never get to find out. I did watch on Tommy Tiernan now. So that's where I watched.
That was the most awkward interview I've ever done in my life.
It was very hard to watch too.
Yeah. I heard that afterwards, and it's still up there, but...
I was like, God, I wonder what he's really like, because I didn't really feel like I got to know. I was like, there's me more, that...
Yeah, I said I'd never do an interview with him again.
So what was that like? What was that?
He just kept going, and it ended up... The actual interview was twice as long as that, as most things do, and then they get edited down. And there was funny bits throughout it, which were good crack.
That got cut out,
but it ended up being none of that. It was very much a depressing interview, to be honest with you. It was really depressing. And he just kept asking questions about, you seem sad.
Aye.
He was basically provoking me to
be sad,
and I wasn't that sad at the time.
You were sad when it was over.
But geez, I was depressed by the end of it.
Yeah, it's like, God help that creator, he's so sad after it. And then I was like, God, no, I'm sure that's not.
Well, I was out in Killarney about 2 months ago. We were gigging in the INEC, and I went out afterwards because we were off the next day then, and we ended up in the Grand in the nightclub, and there was a group of women there, and they must have been in their 40s, and one of them came up to me and she was like, I watched the Tommy Tiernan thing years ago on you. And I was like, oh, very good. She was like, he fairly had a right go at you, didn't he? And I was like, oh, jeez, there we go. Yeah. But she was kind of the same.
I think people were feeling for you, just, you know, because it was hard going. Like,
it ended up a very depressing interview. Not like this one.
Don't you walk away and say that about me, or you're never getting back on the Dig podcast.
This was brilliant.
Yes, exactly. And it shows the real man and the real, you know, human behind the showbiz. And I knew that was there, but I'm so happy that you did that with us. Anyway, we do like Tommy Tiernan now, but we're just, you know, that was a tough one for sure. Thank you for being on the Dig podcast. Good luck. Can't wait. When the Carter clothing range is in every retail store in men's in Ireland, you'll come back and give us insight into, because so many retailers and business people follow this, so give us some insight into what that's been like and growing the brand. Would you do that maybe in a little while?
Hopefully more than 3 will turn up the next,
they will.
At the next
they will.
launch.
We know we're going to put it out to Nan, and you know, she'll pray for you. She'll pray that happens.
Exactly.
But thank you for being. Where can people follow along now?
We're on Instagram, Facebook and TikTok, as in my own musical stuff, and then the website will be live very, very soon. But you can check us out on Facebook or Instagram for Carter Clothing. Yeah, so. And we're going to put all the links in the show notes when we put the podcast out. We'll be tagging all of that. Really appreciate that.
Thank you for being our guest today.
No problem. And tell the boys I said hello.
I will.
Flat out.
Flat out.